Kyle Postlewaite, aka Malker here at Big Kitty Games. Um, we had some sun at the end of yesterday. I don't know if that's what's causing it, but I've been kind of sneezing a lot, so upfront apologies if I start sneezing on camera. Um, Took a couple of days off last week, was kind of going crazy. And it was spring break here, which isn't, getting drunk on the beach, but I have some family that are primary school teachers, so we got to hang out, this and that. But looking to get back into it. I upgraded a lot of shaders. Should help with performance. Some batching settings and some things on game objects that I've sort of tweaked and updated. One thing I want to look at right quick. I've been working on. It's actually turned out to be pretty difficult. Basically, the way that the game currently spawns things is in the procedural area script, and it's going to grab all of the procedural prefabs and figure out what sort of biome it's rolling for, and then just, fill in a 128 meter square area. The problem with that is everything's based on everything else. So another way to say that would be that resources and decorations all roll together. And what I'm trying to change that to is that resources actually roll. Well, first we would do encounters, which are big, and take up more space. And then after that, we'll do resources. And the reason for doing that is because we can figure out rarities, which is important for scanners, important for the map. And if that's its own separate sort of self-contained system, that decorations can then assume, is sort of static data that they need to then build on top of, then we can actually access that data via the map without having to consider all of the decorations and town buildings and everything else. So that'll make scanners work for areas that you've never been to yet, which is a big deal. That'll be really cool. That's a very big deal. So say you've upgraded your 10-kilometer scanner in a new area. You've never been anywhere outside of it yet. You leyline teleport it in. And then when you turn it on, it says, there's a rare stone 5 kilometers over in that direction. Somewhere you've never been. So that gives you a good reason to go off and climb that mountain or wade that swamp or whatever. And it'll also speed up the whole process in general. And while I'm in there, I'm kind of looking to upgrade the map, because it's definitely got some problems. We might get into that here in a little bit. There's a couple of things that have been brought up that I want to look at, though. First of all, being the math on the procedural watcher, which this is what controls when new chunks, new terrains. Chunks are the distant terrains, so that'd be they're 8-kilometer chunks off in the distance. And then the nearby ones are the large terrains. It's a 1 kilometer. And this is what's causing the problems. New log about? What's happening, Deckinf? I'm not sure what you mean. New log about? And I had a player send me a video of, when you're at the start area and we did this on stream a couple weeks ago where it generates a position based on your, I can just show it to you, based on your position in the world, and then it starts determining what large terrains need to be generated based on your proximity. So when you're at the start, it's going to generate something like, 3 terrains all around you so that you're not walking off the edge of anything, and that goes on for infinity as you move around in the game world. There's a problem though where, so let's see, if I actually go into the editor here and I click on this terrain, so this is the corner of the world right here where the 4 terrains meet. This is the starter platform. So if I go and I stand right here, I'm on the corner of the world. Now, see, you can see it's doing it to me where you get these leg spikes going back and forth between these tiles. And what's going on here is backface culling is a thing, Deckinf. I'm not sure what you're trying to point at. So we've got the procedural watcher here, and this is what controls the map that I was looking at here. It figures out where your position is in the world, and then it wants to draw terrains outward from that. So right now I'm standing on this terrain, but if I go over here, I'm standing on a different terrain, so that math changes. But what's supposed to happen is that it doesn't disable them as quickly as it enables them. So, in other words, if we've got 3 terrains drawing outward from us, we're right here. We don't want it to disable this terrain if we move over to here. Even though if we're standing here, it's not actually going to generate this terrain. When we move over here, it's going to generate this terrain based on the math. So then when we move back here, that math is going to say this one's too far away. But we want to give the disable range an extra one. Yeah, it's an infinite world, so I can run in any direction, and it'll just keep spawning. But yeah, the problem I'm having right now is this here, where it is giving too much weight to despawning something rather than leaving it up for some extra padding as the player moves around. Because if you run around in a circle around one of these corners, it's constantly enabling and disabling stuff. So I'm not a math whiz. We did look at this just recently here, and I know it's right in here somewhere. So this is just doing 2 for loops. It's going to see if... So it's looking through all of the currently spawned terrains to see if it can find a terrain that... Cats are going nuts. Easy there, Peepy Town. Matches the X and the Z that it's looking for. And if it finds it, it doesn't worry about it. That's fine. But here we go. Find and remove. Properly spawned. Let's see. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. Add all remaining non-border safe terrains to a despawn list. So this is where we're actually looking through Terrains to spawn, currently spawned terrains. If one that we're trying to spawn is already in our currently spawned, we remove it. So our terrains to spawn array shouldn't have any duplicates in it. And then anything that was left over in the has already been spawned, but isn't something that the math is considering us is something we want to spawn. We're going to check the distance from the player's current position to that terrain's position, and see if we should despawn it or not. So I think this is really just our distance math here probably isn't working. When we go to check what needs to get spawned, this is how we're doing it. It's we round the player's position to I guess we're not rounding it. So we're keeping it as is. And then we're looking through. You mean my hair changed? How's it going, Art? We're looking at the currently spawned terrains and then weighing our current position we are going against all of the players. Oh, there's my wife. Good morning. I've got a lot of distractions going on here. Anyway. So, this is a currently active terrain. And that's its actual XZ position, not the center of it. So, I'm going to sneeze too. No cats yet. I had to shoo one away already. So we're calculating corners. Well, this is going to give us the actual position. This render distance is set up. I think I want to do this not necessarily times 1.1. I'm just going to add 1024 to it. So that would be a whole extra terrain. So if I'm standing here, I move over here. Well, we'll have to test it. So there's the 4 corners that you can be in. And if you cross over in any of those, Yeah, I think that should be good. Let's do that for the area as well. Yeah, here I just straight up did render distance plus 2, so that's good there. And then chunks as well are doing... we're going through all the currently spawned chunks, figuring out... This looks more complicated than it needs to be. Min XC, min XC, max XC. I'll watch this too. I'm not sure that math is working as intended. Terrain should be working better though, and I think that's the main problem. Yeah, I've been working on save that? I did not. Getting resource scanners to work even in areas that you haven't been to. So, apologies for the allergies. Decoupling the resource rarity math from the world generation stuff so that you can look at that code anywhere in the world without actually having to travel there. Like you know, when decorations and encounters and stuff generate, you have to actually visit there. My throat's all weird. So I'm working on a system where the resources will be separate from that, but it's actually proven to be pretty difficult. I hadn't thought about that in a few days. What was going on with that? Let me see here. So, this is still kind of doing it. Arigato. So we can watch and see if I fixed that, or if it's actually chunks or areas, or what's going on here. Should be this section count here, which you can't actually see. That's a bummer. But, yeah, no, I have not looked at that yet. I need to look at that. Let's do that. So I'm crossing barriers here. Yeah, something's lagging, but it's not the terrains. Okay, so that's working fine. Let's look at chunks. It shouldn't be chunks either. Yeah, it's not chunks. Okay. Let's look at areas. It might be the grass. I see the grass is flickering. Managers. This has all the spawned areas. There's currently 88 spawned areas. Yeah, and those are not spawning or despawning. See the grass changing there though. So is it the grass that is causing us problems? Grass stuff is almost immediate, but the update all bit that Vegetation Studio goes through is certainly not immediate. Yeah, I think that's the lag that we're going through. When I click Generate Terrain Data. Such a bummer that this system hasn't been updated yet. They're supposed to be working on a upgrade for this. This whole system is super good, but it's really just built for static games. Not for procedural games, unfortunately. And we haven't had any really updates on the stuff that they're working on in a long time. Just gonna see if anything new has been posted. Doesn't look like it. Some interesting stuff in here though. Looks like other people are starting to work on stuff that I do. I'll have to take a look at that later. See if I can't see something interesting in there. But long story short, so it's not the procedural watcher. Procedural watcher looks fine. Procedural, we want to look at the grass manager. So let's see. Check position, I think, is what we're looking for. Areas to spawn, areas to remove. This gets added to with check position here, and we're not doing a buffer on this one, so we definitely want to add a buffer on here. I kind of feel like there's too much grass. Nah, not really though. Anyway, so we want to go through all the current areas. Add any remaining temp list, right? So add intended areas if not present. So we generate a temporary list of all the ones currently spawned. We generate based on our current position a new set and check to see if our current set doesn't already contain that. If it doesn't, we add it. Otherwise we remove it. Then anything that didn't have either of those things happen to it, we add to our remove bit. But what we actually want to do is add a buffer. So an easy way to go about this would honestly be a second loop, and this is really only 3x3 loop that we're doing here, so that's not a problem. This is going to take a nanosecond. Let's up it to 2 this time around, and yeah, if we do find that this one has been spawned, we want to add it to be despawned, basically. So we're going to loop through once. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is just going to give us anything that needs to be spawned. We're then going to do a second loop. Let's go ahead and add a little comment here too. check for areas to despawn with an added buffer of 1. So we're going to go through a larger loop. This will be 5 by 5. Yeah. So 1 extra ring around the player. And if we find that there is something... That's not quite right, is it? So if we find that the temp areas, we are going to be doing the same thing here. If we find that it's already, that it's not yet active, there shouldn't be any case that this happens. But in any case, if we find that it's already active, oh yeah, this was supposed to be a not, like above, up here. So if we find that it's not currently spawned, we do want to be spawning it. Should never actually hit this. But, no, yeah, this logic needs to be rethunk a little bit. Give me just a second here, chat. I see you guys typing, but I need to just figure this out real quick. So... These are actually acceptable spawn points, is basically what we're saying. So I need to be doing like a distance check. So if our current position is going to be area XCX, I don't really need to be doing a loop like this either. Let's do for int I equals 0. I equals less than temp areas dot count I plus plus. This is just going to be a single loop now. And I'm going to grab a currently present area at temp areas position I. So that's going to be something that's already spawned. Right. And then I'm going to, let's just get rid of all of that for a second. Alright, I gotta read chat. You guys are getting backed up here. Harvest will then love and one of them is back made up I'm going to fix the bug where the monsters attack you at the bottom step of the dungeon by going through the walls. Oh, I really kind of had forgotten about that. So this is Jack, you're talking about the goblin dungeons after you go down a sort of winding staircase thing, and then the monsters are able to see and attack you through that. Is that what you're talking about? I think I know what the problem is with that. If that's what you're talking about, I can definitely fix that here in a minute. Let me write that down quick. If I can find a pen, there it is. Probably a nav mesh. At the bottom level they don't. At the bottom step of the dungeon, but not with the bottom level they don't. What do you mean by the bottom level? Well, we'll look at that here in a minute. Definitely. Goblin dungeon wall problems. Hi, kitty. Coffee has already gone cold. We're just gonna go to full version, but we'll say 10 letters from characters that comes from you at the base of the second floor. What's up, Goofy King? Yeah, I will do that here in a minute. We'll go look at that directly. What I just want to do here is if current area dot x is less than area xz dot x minus 2. Yeah, so if it's less than that, or current area is greater than plus 2, so not greater or equal. If it's actually greater than, if it's outside of that buffer border, or, and basically the same thing again, but this time with the z's. Area z minus 2, oh, and it's a y actually, even though I treat it, in the world it's used as a z. In that case, yeah, temp areas dot remove at whatever one we're looking at. So now anything that passes this second check as well will still remain. Let's compile that and give it a test. The goblin dungeons are random, so they can actually have like 3 or 4 floors, or more. I don't think there's a maximum. It's just a percentage. There's always a chance that a staircase will spawn downward. So Art's saying that only the first staircase is bugged. There's probably more than one thing going on there. Oh, there, I messed it up. Now it's just removing them all constantly because of math. If it's less than x, area x minus 2. Oh no, okay, oh, sorry. This is actually where we add the areas to remove. Like this, not like this. So, yeah. Areas to spawn and areas to remove. So only those 2 places getting added to. The temp area will just time out as soon as this method finishes. And yeah, only if they're past this buffer of an extra ring around the player will they respawn. This should fix the lag spikes when you're running circles around the starting area. So I did fix it like I thought the first time, but there was more than one problem going on there, looks like. And let me see. I don't think you sent me the level, you just gave me the... seed there, didn't you, Art? So yeah, that should be working better. Let's take a peek at the grass. Shouldn't be changing. Doesn't look like it is. That's good. Let's see too. Check position. We're only going to call needs updating if we've spawned, removed, or needed updated something. Otherwise, it's just going to go finish, right? Okay, should be good. Should be good. So that should work better. Let's write that down, make sure I don't forget that I did that. And let's see, let's take a peek quick at either there it is. Seed 131528. Just going to go ahead and make that. We'll take a look at Art's got a problem for us, and then we'll look at the Goblin Dungeons. One 131528 was it? We'll call it Desolation. I do see the errors here, but that's not, shouldn't be a problem. All noisy though they are, I just need to fix them, is all. I'm just gonna teleport out to where? Minus 56 plus 58. I'm not sure I got the order correct there. Yeah, looks like I did. So this is a weird place. I don't have anything on me. Yeah, and that's one of the problems with the map, too, is that that data gets generated when you visit the area, and then it gets saved. So if I ever make changes to the way that that stuff is supposed to generate, the map is not aware of that until you go back. And I don't think it's forced to clear itself. Well, it only shows stone. But yeah, there's obviously some kind of a biomath problem going on here or something. That's funny that it finds rocks, though. How are there rocks, but there's no stalks? It thinks I'm in the mountains. Let's make... I could make a little method to print out the biomes at our current location. It's really weird that the stones would show up and not other things, though. I'll use this window so you can see what I'm doing. Procedural prefabs, resources, stone. Should be the same as stock, more or less. Well, this does have a minimum height of 0. That shouldn't matter, though. Stone's got a size of 3, too. That's kind of not necessary, but whatever. And... grass, badlands, mountains, snow. Stock can't show up in the snow. And stone can, and also in the ocean. But we were getting a mountain reading there. Like I said, I think that it's believing that I'm ocean there for some reason. We changed... we changed some logic to make sure that anything below sea level would be able to generate biome, ocean biome stuff, even if it's swamp or whatever, you know, partly. But that's supposed to be only below sea level. I wouldn't expect that to cause that sort of a behavior above ground. I think that was down where we're checking locations. Determine main biome. Height is Y. Yeah, that's what it looks like, isn't it? There's probably ore there too that I just didn't notice. Because ore and stone can spawn underwater, but everything else can't. So for some reason it thinks... is there no ore? Does look like there's no ore. Ore should be... maybe it's not. I guess since I changed it... no, yeah, I guess none of them are. Small, medium, large, since I changed that. The old basic ores used to be able to go underwater as well. My own scanners shouldn't show anything like you're showing. I'm pretty sure that's all just data saved from before the patch, which is one of the reasons I'm trying to upgrade the map. I think I can finish that today. It ended up being pretty difficult. Hmm. Hi, kitty. Let's see. Minus 56 plus 58. Yeah. Multiplayer. Oh, that's interesting. I can fix that. Some of this old logic prior to creative mode. Let's see. Temporarily disable the multiplayer scanners. This needs to be if play mode equals multiplayer host or game settings play mode equals game client. So allowed within creative. What is this to? You're fine, right? Yeah, it's just this old logic where it used to be you were either in multiplayer or you were in single player. So I could just say, if you're not in single player, don't allow it. But then I added creative mode. And so creative mode is not the same as single player. So there's a couple places where that logic got left over, where it should say if you're not in multiplayer, or if you are in multiplayer hosting, or if you are a multiplayer client, don't do this. Otherwise, single player and creative are allowed. Creative world, desolation. I accidentally named my creative character creative world. somehow. But yeah, I'm not expecting to see these scanners show anything like you have, Art. That's just leftover data from scanner's tier is too low. What tier am I in? 16. So we've got stone, but for example, shouldn't have any metal, yeah. So it thinks we are ocean for some reason. Why is that? So let's go ahead and write that down too, just so I don't forget about it. Fixed scanners not being placeable. Placeable? 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 It's probably not even a word. Fixed scanners not being placeable in creative mode. So when we go to spawn stuff, we want to first grab the terrain biome map from the terrain itself. This has the strengths and the height. But it's reporting mountain in the little finder. Anyway, I'm going to go through all of the steps. We're going to find the main biomes for that position. Now if B does not equal 0, meaning it's not ocean, and the maximum is less than anything blending, this is our little ocean logic. How does that work though? B is ocean, or 0 is ocean. So if we're not ocean, and we're not blending on this biome, I'm pretty sure that this is what's causing it. Let's just try and turn it off and take a peek. But 0.4 is supposed to be the minimum, and then 0.36 is the blending distance. Sneeze went away somewhere. I'm probably assuming something incorrect there. Thanks for the like, Shauna. Everybody likes watching me sneeze. So how does that work, Art? Like, I mean, I'll check it out, but yeah, that fixed it. So now we got stuff all over. Is that a tree and a rock? No, it's a deer. The goblins are on their navigation mesh on the floor. And then if you get close enough to them, they're supposed to use that navigation mesh to find you. And I assume that the navigation mesh is generating funky around the steps going down there. But I still don't quite understand. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, but there's not like a ton of them or anything. It's just they're not acting as expected, right? There's just one or two that are coming at you as you go down the stairs before you even get out. 10 or more. Okay, well, we'll look at that. Anyway, this is our problem here. And basically this was put in so that if we're not ocean and the biome that we're looking at, its maximum is less than 0.36. We don't let anything spawn. Can just turn that off. It was just intended as a bit of a performance enhancement in that when we are actually checking the biome under find a location here, determine main biome, main strength, check biome. So at this 0.05, the main biome strength should always be at least 0.41. So that's how I got that 0.36. I just subtracted the 0.05 from it. Kind of doing the same ocean check here anyway, though. If it's 0, it's just going to automatically pass the biome check and go straight to the height check. So this is really just a performance attempt. If it's not ocean and the biome maximum for the biome that we're looking at on this particular terrain goes below, never gets above 0.36. There shouldn't be any spawn locations on the terrain, was the logic, but apparently that's not the case. It would just save some of these checks is all. And this is all happening off thread, so it's not actually something that you would notice. It just might take 1.5 frames instead of 2 frames to generate this data, or less, honestly. It's all pretty basic math. It's not a big deal. I'm a little confused why that is not working as it's expected, though. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. It doesn't actually cause any performance drops. It's just maybe would generate a little bit faster. So we'll leave it off. Let's go ahead and take a peek at a goblin dungeon. Let's go back into single player, see if we can find one. I did not click single player, did I? Is there one there? I clicked client. Well, we can go check that one out then. Yeah, watching you do it would be 90%. Probably figure out what's going on. I want to get there and save myself so I can give it a try. And these trees are all bendy. You know, fix it and load back in and give it a try. How come there's no grass out here? Where's my mountain grass? Did I break my grass? How did I break my grass? Didn't I just get done fixing my grass? How come I don't have any grass? Hey. You got makeup on your shoulder, cat. What's going on? She's on your jump die there. There's a step on the other side, you know, built for you. You never use. What happened to my grass? Setup, blah blah blah, update. Batch mode, no. Grass density is not 0. Wasn't running. Should be doing check position. Patch mode, client, fake, world encounter, no. Good, good. What do you mean by that, Art? Gobbo Dungeon is thinking the terrain is underwater. Oh, right. Yeah, I fixed that. Um, I still don't totally get why I had to fix that, but how come my grass manager's not triggering here at all? What's going on here? My grass isn't turned off. Oh, I guess it is. That'll do it. That's weird. Hmm. We were looking at grass just a minute ago. We did have that error when I started the game and I went to create a new world, was it? See these errors pop up here? Is that causing settings to reset somehow? Let's see. Start UI 2138. Sorry for getting sidetracked here. Reset world settings. Why is that getting called? I clicked create 1870. Create new world. Reset all. Not those settings though. That's a different type of settings. 2138. Start UI. Reset all. Where is that? Reset world settings. Oh yeah, that's not acceptable. I'm gonna have to change this real quick. Let's see. Alright, I've marked it for change. It's currently resetting all of this stuff. We do not want that. Well, the world settings are supposed to be world specific, but it's using a method that got expanded to incorporate video and audio settings and different things, so it is probably resetting some of all of that. For example, this kind of stuff we do want reset when you click create new world. Harvesting, farming, items, yeah, all of this, but none of this. These are all player settings. So I'm gonna have to do a little something like let's see here, change setting, gonna need to be a settings. Does that work? No. Areas to meters to draw. That should work, right? It's just left-hand side. Yeah, that's fine. So I do want this to replace all of these, as well as all of these. And the bools as well. I think that's everything. So we're not doing you anymore, and then we want to do get default setting as well. This is going to take just a minute longer, unfortunately. These are the defaults, but let's go ahead and use that anyway. Comma get default setting, and let's just go like this for now. Looks like most of these are one. I could go like this. It's when you click a create new world button. This is what's called a singleton, the game settings. So it's static. There's a public static class, and that means that there can only ever be one ever, always. So world settings do get saved to a file, but in runtime they're loaded into this static singleton. That way they can just be accessed by anything from anywhere, because everybody knows that there's only one instance of this class ever. So when you load a world, it populates this class with that data, and it can just leave it alone. Unless you load another world, then it's going to load it in there. So when you create a new world, it wants to return this all to default. So on the create world interface there, you're getting the default settings starting out. Now here comes the time-consuming part. That's why I had this as just a little method. Well, and I didn't finish these, did I? Comma, get default setting. It's always nice to have this stuff be a machine. Get default, change, get current. Yeah, there's kind of no other way to do this. I could make a reset to default method, but it'd be basically doing the same thing. I'd have to code this all anyway. So what we're doing here is just changing the world settings, not the audio video settings. So I need to do this, unfortunately, for all of these. And I don't think there are ways to do this in Notepad++, which at times is super useful. You know, if you've got like 1,000 entries or something to deal with, you can write a little script and tell it to look for this thing and then find anything after it, and then look for this thing and then put it there. I've got a little README file somewhere that I wrote myself on how to do that, because sometimes you do, well, maybe not you, but sometimes I do run into things like this where I need to update several hundred entries, and in that case a script is always the way to go. In this case it's only a few dozen. It's annoying and it's tedious and it's time consuming, and honestly it's a bit prone to error, but when it's not that many like this, it actually ends up being faster if you just go ahead and do it. Please let me know if you notice that I got any of these wrong. I'll give it one last little pass with my eyes once I get them all in, make sure I didn't get anything wrong. Wouldn't be a big deal, and it would be pretty obvious. Again, this is when you go to create a new world, it's going to reset all of these settings to default. So when you open up the Create World interface, everything's going to be reset to default. So if something was not default, you know, something that's supposed to be 1 is at 20 every time you go to make a new world, that would mean that I messed one of these up. And I think we'd probably spot it pretty quick. And last but not least, farming and items. Because I had my grass turned up to 100%, and then I went to make a new world, and my grass got turned down to 0%. And I said, excuse me? It's not what it's supposed to be at. So that's going to be causing problems for individuals. If you go to create a new world, which people do all the time, not an obvious problem though. Yeah, if you can make a machine, well, that's what they call it in programming anyway, a machine. It's not actually a machine, it's just a, you know, a script. Make a method to handle that kind of stuff for you. It's very nice. I actually wanted to click create world. Okay, and I want to turn this off too, so let's go ahead and do that. I freaked out because my grass wasn't spawning, and so I added that debug in there. It's like, what's going on? Let's just make sure that that fixed that completely. My clouds were at like minimum quality too, I noticed. Yeah, there's more time to be spent on grass someday too. Like I said, the guy that writes that is a really smart dude, but it's totally designed for static games. You know, static worlds, not procedural worlds like Solace Crafting. So it's got some real serious setbacks, and he's been working on upgrading it to work nicely. Okay, so yeah, that's working properly now. With procedural worlds is too, because it's a totally different thing mathematically to go through and generate a preset set of bounds and arrays and all of this and that. Good lord, cat. But yeah, day isn't here yet, I don't believe. So when it happens. I've just got these funny little brown patches, huh? Let me look at these, what, texture mask, grass, mountain. Red, green, yeah, they're still pretty dark green though. And we don't seem to be getting our... Where is our vegetation? Biomes, vegetation. Where's there it is. Edit biome. I think like these guys are supposed to be in the... Red, green, blue. No, okay, so this is desert. I should have named these. Here we go. This guy's green. And he needs at least 0.4, huh? I could lower that. Get some of these guys here. But I don't want this to be overrunning the grass biome. I know some people just straight up churn their grass off. I actually haven't messed with these yet. I messed with the grass quite a bit. Oh, Nart's gonna yell at me. Messing with my grass again. I do fuss with my grass a lot. It really bothers me that it's such a difficult subject to get decent looking grass. I was playing EverQuest the other day though. That's from like 1999, and the areas I were in were probably more like 2005 or something, but they've just got like a piece of grass, every once in a while, and it looks fine. I don't know why this bothers me so much. It looks garbage, EverQuest does. It looks like garbage, but it's fine. It's a game. You'd rather be having fun than worrying about the grass. I just want to change the size on these guys a little bit if I can. Min-max scale. Let's go 0.5 to 2 on the rest of you guys. Get a little more variance. That might be a little big. The scale on these is X. Looks like it's more like a 0.5 for these guys. Well, no, it should be fine, actually. It's just nice to have a little bit more variety rather than that solid blanket. Make one of these 2.5. No, that's a little big. I think some of these... Oh, that is the big guy, though. These are the bigger weeds. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll leave it like that. It looks good. Okay, so to the northeast, there is a Goblin Dungeon. Says art. Yeah, I played Ultima Online. I never did play Asheron's Call. I don't know why. I played Ultima Online, and then I got into... hope these guys can't one-shot me or something. Can't even hit me. Should be fine. I don't know why I never got into that. I was a beta tester for EverQuest. And that was just the coolest thing in the world. I got a CD in the mail from Sony. I was like... I don't think I could even drive back then. What was that? Well, 1998, I think it was, maybe. So I should have had a license by then. It's probably 16. But had like all my buddies came over and we had no idea what we were doing. I was level 1 for like 3 days. It was great. That game was so hard and punishing. You know, you'd die somewhere and you would spend hours just trying to get your body back because you'd get there and you're naked and stuff didn't care that you were naked. It'd kill you again. Then you'd have to start over again. You're running back there. Yeah, that was a little extreme. What was it? It always pops into my head. I can't remember the name though. In between Caladim, the dwarf city, and the elf city, there was this undead zone. I don't even have a weapon on me, but I can punch pretty good. Ever something I want to say, like Everdark or something like that. But yeah, people would just make a mistake and end up with like 30 mobs on them. It's really bright in here, isn't it? Goblins are pretty big though. Their movement speed's really funky. That's weird. Huh. How come they all slide around like that? Always something. Let's see. I'm in the world encounter. Mobs. Goblin 1. Let's see, I saved before I came in. Let's go to... Well, let's just get to one of the guys I'm fighting right now. Yeah, okay, so I got one of them. Let's change his stopping distance, auto braking. Don't think the auto braking is working properly. What happens if I turn that off? I am looking at this guy. Yeah, they're sliding around like they're on ice. Huh. Pushing me. Stopping distance, auto brake. There's no deceleration built into this. And Unity writes this all, so we're not allowed to touch it. It's very not nice. But let's see. I can just stop them, honestly. Let's do that. Let's go to... Stuff's all working. That's something else I'll be looking at later. Stomp does have a maximum amount that it's allowed to hit, doesn't it? Anyway. Let's say that they've got a target. They are within... Yeah, so we're already doing reset path. Let's do a velocity. You can set it manually, right? Velocity equals vector3.0. So I'm just going to stop them once they get into melee range so they don't jar into you like that. As far as churning goes, angular speed. This will keep stuff from launching you. I believe that animals will have the same effect. Some of them have an override. Animal AI 2. But they don't override that portion of the logic. So I should actually keep rhinos and alligators from launching you. We'll see how it looks though. It might be a little unnatural. I could add a little decay, manual decay to the velocity instead of just going straight to stop if this looks a little too severe. I need to put a weapon on too. Yeah, it's supposed to be based on each of them. I think the main problem is that their velocity is carrying them into you. See, like these guys have a melee range of 1. So now they're not going to ice skate up to me. They're going to stop at 1. That does look a lot better. I'll go look at a rhino later. Like, if I look at here, let me see. Animals. Like the bear has a melee range of 3. So these guys only have a melee range of 1, I believe. Let's see. Goblins have... oh, they're at 2.25 is what they're swinging at me right now. So that's actually... You know, it's the distance from their center of their feet to the center of my feet. Is that really 2.5 meters? I guess. But, so bear should actually be more than 3 probably. We can go and look at that though. Bear again is at 3. Let's see, hippo's at... Where's he at? Hippo's at 3. Hippo probably needs more than 3. Alligator probably 2. Rhino. Let's see if I can spawn those guys in here. Let's bring a bear in. See if he wakes up or not. I probably have to spawn him. Spawn. He's not animating. Yeah, I don't think I can just toss him in there like that, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, well, he's trying anyway. He's trying. Turn his agent off and on. Maybe he's not quite on. Hey, kitty. Well, we'll go find some of them out in the wild. soon as I finish these guys off. My cat's sitting here watching the screen. Oh, that's not hitting him. That is not hitting him. Why is that not hitting him? What's going on here? So many problems. Really? Dead bodies blocking my swing? That makes sense, I guess. Let me see. I can fix that. Skills. Action. Skill template attack. Targeting, engage. Get targets AoE. If you find something, if it's not null. Sorry, Kitty, I need the keyboard again. Cute though you are. If the monster is not null and the monster is not dead, we will try to find something that is not dead. That's for AoE. Sphere cast, we're going to want to do the same thing. And I think that's all. Sphere cast and AoE. What about projectile? Get skill, let me double check. Projectile. This is actually different, isn't it? It's going to be on the projectile itself, which I believe is under items. Projectile setup on collision enter. If the monster is not null, and well, you know, if you I'm thinking, so I'm trying to hit this guy, right? Say I'm trying to cast a spell at one of these guys. But there's a capsule collider here. I've got gizmos turned off. Show me the collider. I gotta expand it, don't I? Yeah, so if I cast a spell, I'm gonna actually hit that, even if there's a dude standing behind him here. I don't really want that. I think I will do that here as well. And not monster is dead. Only hit things that are alive. I think that'll work a little better. Anyway. They block movement too. Interesting. That could be a problem with the goblins, couldn't it? Let's see. They've got a reference to their Let me look at that skill once more. We are ignoring triggers. In both cases, I could set their... that would work pretty good, because mouse over stuff would still work just fine with that. Let's try that. I don't currently have a... let's go ahead and say... I don't have a reference to their collider, do I? I do not. So let's make serialize field collider equals null, and I don't think it's gonna want me to, you alright? Yeah, it hides the member, so let's call it something else, even though that's exactly what we want to call it. Thinking about 3 different things at once here, sorry. Collider, we'll just call it, we'll call it main collider, I guess. Now let's go to death. Attack entity. If it's dead, remove the agent. Yeah, let's do set collider to trigger if main collider does not equal null. We want the collider.is trigger, main collider.is trigger to become true. How come my heater is just pumping? Oh, somebody hit this. Somebody had that on max fan speed all day. It's weirding me out. Main collider.trigger equals true. So after you kill something, the collider will now turn to a trigger. I need to write this stuff down because I always forget about it. Monsters killed will no longer block movement / skill target checks. Nice. 2 weeks of spring? What does that mean? Oh, you're already into summer now? It got really cold today for some reason. We've had really nice weather as well. But not today. I got had to put a sweatshirt back on. Still a little, yeah, see, it set my clouds back to like minimum. I like my clouds better. Ultra. No, that's a little too much actually. See, Ultra looks a little weird even. I need to finish tweaking those settings. But anyway. So, they shouldn't be skating anymore. It's really bright in here. I really want to fix that. We never really kind of did finish these. Anyway, so these guys are all... I forgot to save my sword. I still punch pretty good though. Most of my stuff requires a weapon though. So now I can walk through him. Oh no, I didn't do the... okay. Not a problem. So I'm just going to go to the goblins themselves, and I'm actually going to open it up. And now on the monster AI script, we've got a spot here to put the collider into, like so. And that will prevent, that will be turned off. Do we want to do that for everybody? We don't want to do that for stone golems. Or really much of anybody, I don't think. Just the goblins, mostly. Should be enough. But that option exists now. If anybody else needs to have their colliders turned off on death. I need to remake my sword and save here real quick, because I forgot to save after I made it last time. Thank you to the new followers, by the way, over the weekend. And let's go ahead and save that so I have that next time if I need to stop and come back. And I added, there are some lights in here. Why is it so bright in here? I want to look at that real quick. World counters, dungeon generator. I don't think that's the goblin dungeon generator, is it? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Room, corridor, wall, down chance. This isn't where it happens, though. It's the encounter manager. No, it's, what is it? Encounter master. What's he called? Is he down here? World encounter master. Going in, it's actually terrain manager, isn't it? Turn off. Surface world. If we have entered into a... Yeah, if we're in a goblin dungeon, it's supposed to set the fog and ambient light and some stuff here. Doesn't look like it's done that though. 0.55, 0.5. Yeah, that's correct. Fog end distance 500. It doesn't look like it's 500. Maybe that needs to be turned down a bit. 80, 70, 60, 50. 50 might be a little much. About 80. How about 70? Should it be exponential? At 0.05? 0.04? What is that called? Fog density. 0.0004. Let's try that. That's a little gray. How about a little darker? Black looks a little weird though, huh? How about 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. Actually, a little yellow didn't look too bad there, did it? What was that, 0.2-ish? Stick with, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I'll go with that, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2. Could do 0, 0.1, 0.1. You almost can't even see. Yeah, you can still see down the hallways pretty good there. 0.5. It just kind of makes it darker. That doesn't look too bad, actually. 0.1, 0.10. More importantly, though, where is this light coming from? I'm not actually... color, ambient sky, color ground. I still have a... no? Do I not have a... I don't have a sun source, do I? Player, camera, event, managers, sky manager. This is all turned off, so he's not in there. So we're actually basing our lighting off of... what? Could just set it to be a color. I don't want it to be super dark, but you know, when you've got these lights like that, looks a lot better than that super brightness that was going on, especially when we've got these candles on the ground and stuff. Alright, kids, you settle down. Don't make me learn a meteor spell. So, it's interesting, it grabbed that. It's grabbing by distance, not necessarily which dude I'm looking at. Might want to change that too. Anyway, you can walk through these guys now. Dead bodies won't get in the way of targeting, but you can still loot them as expected. Though they would preferably have more of a ragdoll collider than the capsule collider that we've given them. Yeah, this doesn't look bad. If I turn my torch off, it's probably going to be really dark in here, though. It's not terrible, actually. I think that's a little darker than it needs to be. But can we just turn this up a little bit is what we're talking about? Yeah. So let's say RGB. Let's do 0.8, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, maybe a little lower than that. 0.7, 0.7, 0.5-ish. I don't want it to be super dark, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, and that's a little performance thing that I've kind of always been a stickler about, but I'm not actually sure how much performance that actually rewards by sticking to those simple colliders. So I can't run through them while I'm fighting them, but once I get rid of them, I can walk through them just fine. I had to dig a bird's nest out of my gutter here the other day. Can hear some bird chirping mighty close. Hope they're not trying to get back into it. Anyway, the real reason that we came down here, let's do you know, we're going to do to fix this color here real quick. 0.7, 0.7, 0.5. Render settings. Dot. What do we call it? Source. I think it's actually something like light. Or is it quality? No. what is this called? Render settings dot... shoot, I don't know what this is called. Unity environment lighting source. Lots of questions. Ambient mode, there we go. Even though it's called something completely different. In there, flat skybox trilight. What? Flat ambient lighting, what? Skybox gradient color. I think flat is what I'm looking for. And then we're setting the ambient color all over here. Render settings dot ambient colors are all being set to that. So I think that'll work. Let's try that. And I can just save in here, right? Well, let's try it from the start. Yeah, it was way too bright. And I never really quite finished these. I do want to add, that was kind of one of the reasons I made the colorable torches, was that I wanted to add colored torches into the goblin dungeons. And give them varying intensity levels, because that wasn't really something I had a script set up for. So some rooms would be kind of more purpley, some rooms would be kind of more reddish, you know, whatever. Just kind of a bit more variety in the different rooms than having them all be the same color and all of that. Turn the intensity down, but then the range way up on some of those lights. So they're far reaching, but oh, and enough time passed that it saved down here anyway, huh? That's not bad. Okay, so what we actually came down here to do was to look at the staircases, right? Don't just give me a normal background, please. Thank you. Let's see. Looks like there's one right here. I can just walk to that. That's not far away. Assuming I'm walking in the right direction. So, that looks like a champion over there. I'm going to get rid of these guys. I think I'll save here. And what you're telling me is, I don't really know. There's bad guys. At the bottom of the stairs that are gonna trigger onto me or something like that. I'm gonna grab all of these guys. Clear everything above ground here with my muscles. Where did that guy come from? That guy looked like he was kind of, yeah, sort of just popped in there, didn't he? So what I kind of want to peek at here is the nav mesh, really. This is the blue area, is where they're supposed to be able to walk. So it is properly carving that out. They're not aware of the stairs though, which is a bit interesting. They are aware of this area though, and it is all linked together. So yeah, they would be able to walk right through this is the problem that's going on, I think, that you guys are talking about. In fact, this whole floor area, they're just walking right through all of this. What's going on here? Is this a double staircase? Uh-oh. Is that a thing? I don't think that's possible. I'm up here. There's another staircase down here. It's only got one exit, which means there is no entrance into the second set of stairs that have spawned here. Meaning there's probably going to be no way down to the bottom level here, which would explain why some people have been able to find dungeons with no end. Or rather, they were never able to find the end. So let's fix some of these things. Let's see. So, anyway, I'll just save right here, back out, and let's take a moment to think about this. We've got a couple things going on. One is going to be our nav builder cave. Nope, he's completely checked out. We updated that to be just moves around the player now instead of, and this is a much better system. So you don't get those pushes anymore. However, why is it not picking up on the stairs? Should be... Forget if I don't think I have a method to manually update this. Maybe I should make that. Watch player is automatic. Should be triggering constantly. Building placed would initiate a new update request, but I don't think we actually... I guess we do... move at right. So that would work. Can't place a building down here, can you? I actually don't think I've ever tried that. I'll look at the second staircase spawning in just a second. I'm just a little bit confused why it's not picking up the bottom of the staircase. We've got, let's see, stairwell. Is that this one? Yeah, this is the whole staircase setup. It's a default layer. Maybe he should be world encounter layer. The nav builder is going to be using terrain and building and world encounter and decorations. So yeah, I don't think he's actually looking at default. I think that will fix the first problem we're talking about here. The lower floor spawning, is the lower floor spawning too close in height to the higher floor? No, I think it was completely ignoring it. There's no floors where the stairwell goes in, so it was properly not letting guys above go down in, but then it does spawn floors beneath the stairwell, so it was generating a nav mesh using the whole lower floor as well. So really the main problem is that it was ignoring this whole, there we go, see now they should be able to actually walk down the stairs now, so they can actually chase you up and down the stairs. But you can see they can't go through here. There's this padding around this whole area that they're not allowed to pass through because there are colliders on these walls. They were just on the wrong layer, so it was not taking this whole thing into consideration, even though it should. So you see this guy's chasing me here now. It's a little weird that he spawned in there. I'm not quite sure where he came from, but he shouldn't be able to, for example, follow me through here. See, he's gonna have to come through here. He's still kind of skating on ice though, isn't he? The run speed animation looks like it's turned up too fast. He's like sprinting, and he has real trouble churning, doesn't he? Is that just his angular speed? I just need to turn that up. Angular speed 120. Let's just turn it up to 300. It's just funny they have to make that, because he can churn and to look at me really quick. No problem. But they doing that overshoot. That's weird. Maybe I just need to turn their acceleration way up, because that's not their actual speed. Angular speed 80,000. How about, let's see what that does. No, that's not what it is. It's his turn to look at me. Steering speed, auto braking, radius, height, quality, priority. Yeah, I know what you mean. Let's look at his animator. What do we got? Run. Run speed is 2. Huh. Yeah, that's not necessary. Is it just the same as walk, forward, run? So no, it's a run animation, so it shouldn't need to be 2. That looks a lot better. He's still bad at churning though. And where did that guy come from? Haven't I been running around in here for a while? Seems like guys kind of spawn sometimes, doesn't it? I thought I ran around in here pretty healthily. Anyway, they're looking better. It's just silly that they can't churn to get me. Is that my own code? Let me look at that. They shouldn't respawn anyway. Yeah, the stone elementals churn instantly, don't they? Maybe I have a churn speed on them that I'm forgetting. Monsters, goblin, not the nav mesh, and his animator updated properly. Right, that's saved. Let's look at goblin 2. He's got his own. Let's put that to 1 as well. How about the boss 2? Is he at 2? He is. Oh, he's using walk though. That's why that's there. So because he doesn't have a run specific animation, so I just put his walk at 2, so he's going to be fast walking. But Goblin 1, for example, Monster AI, I think they do have a churn speed. No, guess not. What, how do we handle that though? Monster AI. Chase, what do we got? Agro length, chase speed, tier, run, churn speed. Is it just the same for everybody though, huh? Well, I think we can certainly churn it up beyond 200. Let's try double. And I want to go and count the guys down in that room first before we go in there. Kind of looked like those guys were popping in. And that could be guys from the bottom floor. They do a calculation when they churn on to position themselves properly on the nav mesh. And I've seen it in the past prioritize higher up on the Y scale nav meshes for no reason. When I was testing, like building zigzag ladders to see if mobs could actually get up them, which they can. There was a weird thing where it would prioritize, like if you stood under a floor, sometimes the mobs would go to the one above it. Anyway, let's see. We've got one guy up here. Let's go ahead and select the mob layer so we can see everybody. So we got one up here, just one. Down here we've got 1, 2, 3. So okay, it is as expected, I think. And there's nobody inside, right? So these guys shouldn't be able to see me, but I'll bet they're not actually checking the world encounter layer. They do a site check, but I think it's only against buildings at the moment. So I'm going to just kill this guy first. And we should churn that up to count these walls as well. So nobody can see me right now, but is somebody coming to get me? Yeah, that guy's trying to find me. He's a big guy too. So I'm gonna look at that, but let's look at their churn speed real quick. I think I made it worse actually. Didn't I crank it up? Let me take a peek at his private variables, which sounds a little naughty. Churn speed's up at 400. That's good. Okay, well, let's take a look at how that's working though. And let's take a look at their sense method. I'm going to churn that up even more. Didn't I double it though? I'll leave it as is. Let's take a look at how it's being used though. Churn speed doesn't look like it's being used at all. So there you go. Anyway, let's look at sense real quick, which is what they do to try and find someone, which is where? Sense. I'm going to make sure it's in front of you. Building and terrain and player mask. So we actually want to do building and terrain and pretty much everything, honestly. Terrain and building and world encounter mask and decoration. I think I'm going to have to make a new one. So I want to add on to this. It's not the one I was clicking on. This I want to do, and I don't really need an opposite of it. Let's just do building and terrain and player and world encounter mask. I don't need a non version of that. And this gets set up, find all references right here. So I'm just gonna do where is it? Building and terrain and player and world encounter mask equals building and terrain and player and global masks dot world encounter mask. So it will now incorporate all of those. Oh, and that's not actually set up yet. That's no good. These should all be set up at the top. Decoration mask should as well be up at the top first. All layers, doesn't really matter, but we'll put it up here anyway. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. So now they're not going to be able to see through the walls either. Yeah, and then churning. Let's take a look at that. I think that's probably my fault. Unless I'm just letting the agent handle that. So let's see. Since target building attack, it's going to be chase. Chase, chase, set target, attack, attack. Stun, freeze, handle, apply, remove, die. I think it's up at the top. Death. That's all set up stuff. Start, generate self. Is it just within the AI? Late update, handle audio, wander, chase. Here we go. Yeah, it's not in there, so I guess it's just... I've got a target, I've got a distance, I'm telling him to look straight at him. Oh, that's if I'm not in melee range. So I think I am just letting the agent handle it. Let me look at this post that Art has come up with, see if that's related. Just look at what someone's, yeah. I think it's just the agent. Let me see. Unity nav mesh agent churn speed. Doesn't seem to be something super obvious, yeah. Yeah, it's Unity's fault, no doubt, in just not making a variable for us to do this, so we need to do it manually. So we could have them look directly at you, like they're doing in melee distance, like this, or I could have them churn towards you with my own math manually to smooth that out a little bit. Yeah, it sounds like it's based on the the speed of the agent itself. So if you churn the speed way down, or maybe if you turn the speed up, it'll go faster, but that's a totally different thing. Why would you put those together? That's like buying salt and pepper in one thing. Sometimes you need salt, sometimes you need pepper. So Unity has a lot of stuff like that. But I don't think that this is going to be an undesirable effect, though. If I just force them to look at you... as long as they're aware of you. So this isn't when they're just wandering. This is when they've already locked onto you. They're now going to 100% just lock straight onto you. I think that's fine. Like I say, I could write my own little method, which is not hard, in there to have them sort of lerp towards a correct rotation over time, and then we could tweak that so it's faster than the default. But we changed a couple things, so they shouldn't be able to spot me through the wall anymore. Oh, that guy certainly did. Oh, and he's looking up and down too. That's actually not such a bad idea. That actually looks pretty good. So he's angling himself. Yeah, that's a little weird, isn't it? That wouldn't look terrible, except his center of gravity's gotten all off. He certainly spotted me. Oh, I didn't actually change the one variable that was most important there, did I? Under sense, we were changing... Where did sense go? We wanted to change this to be building and terrain and player and world encounter mask. So, okay, that'll work better there. And if we let him... they're doing it here too. Vector 3 up. Sorry, cat. You are right in the way of the keyboard once again. I wouldn't want to use a coroutine because, well, I mean, I could. It would just have to be something that's running constantly. I'd want it to be within the logic here so that only when they're not looking at you. The current problem I'm running into right now is they're not doing this. They're doing this as well. And I don't actually want them to do that. Because it's not this. You know, this would look nice if they actually sort of angle down to look at you. But they're doing their whole feet. And everything goes like this. And that's not desirable. So we don't want to be using this actually in either one of these. We want to basically generate a look rotation. Let's see. Vector 3 dot, and then let me see, quaternion dot look rotation creates a rotation with the specified forward and upwards directions. So we want to do quaternion rotation equals quaternion look rotation, and we want to use transform dot position minus, let's see, we're going to have to do a little bit more math here actually. Why did you indent? Oh yeah, that's my fault. Don't worry about it. So I'm actually going to want to do vector 3. Let's say my position equals new vector 3, and we want to do transform dot position dot x and then 0. So we're not counting the y at all. Transform dot position dot z, and then we want to do target position, which is now going to be the target. And that is the transform of the target, right? Yeah. So this is going to be the player, is usually what our target is. And so in both cases, we're going to set the y to 0, so that we don't do any of this. We just churning side to side. We're then going to use my position minus target position to give us a vector in to face that direction. I'm not sure if that's in the right order. He'll be facing backwards if it is. And then vector 3 dot up. And that's going to give us a look rotation. Transform dots, what is it? Rotation. So I guess we don't actually need to do that. I think we can just do this. And we'll do the same thing down here. So this would not be the smoothing method that your research was suggesting there with a coroutine. We could definitely build that very easily, but I don't think it will actually generate any sort of like say undesirable effects, or could say odd looking effects. So he should just snap. Yeah, he's doing it backwards. Okay, so we want to do actually where is it? It's this here. Target position minus my position. Like that. I guess when they see you, they are going to go blip. So that is a little unrealistic, isn't it? But not hard to remedy. Let's just go ahead and say quaternion rotation equals this. And we want to do rotation equals, let's say, quaternion. I think there's a lerp in here, isn't there? Yeah. So we actually want to do interpolates between A and B by T and normalizes the results afterwards. It's not quite what I want. Can I do a move towards? No. How about we do a vector 3 rotation equals that dot Euler. Bueller. Transform rotation is now going to be a vector 3 dot move towards. Let's do transform dot Euler angles. We're going to be moving towards our new rotation, and we're going to give it a maximum of time dot delta time, since this is being called every frame, times, this is going to be our churn speed. So we weren't actually even using churn speed, even though we had that variable set up. Oh, what? No, cannot implicitly. Sure. You know, just vector 3 dot 1 times all of that. What's the matter? Did you actually want to float there? Yeah, you want to float. What's going on? Cannot implicitly. Oh, right. So your Eulers now are going to be like that. Now the question is churn speed enough here? And I set it up to 400. Yeah, that's going to be way too much. Let's try 10. And let's go ahead and make this serialized so we can change it in runtime and find a good value. This will now be applied to all monsters and animals. So we want to think about that for half a second. Maybe alligators and rhinoceri should have a reduced churn speed, for example. I think these goblins should be pretty quick, though. And we did want to kind of mess with the, we added this immediate stopping, And I could turn that into a bit of a slowing method as well. Thank you, Art. But so let's see. This guy actually shouldn't spot me from. Yeah, okay. He's a little bit slow on the churn still. So let's turn his churn speed up. To, let's see. Let's do triple. And we should, oops, don't kill him. No, he's still pretty, what's he there, huh? Pretty slow. Let's turn it up to 200. That should make a difference. Oh, he did like a, did you see that? He's turning all over the place now. Yeah, I think this agent stuff still really isn't just working the way I'd like it to. You know, there needs to be a steering speed, not just a movement speed. Angular speed 120. I don't even know what this is supposed to mean. Do they give an explanation for that somewhere? Unity, navmesh, steering, speed. Let's just look at the variables somewhere here. Let's just go to navmesh agent. How about angular speed, maximum churning speed in degrees while following a path. It's totally ignoring that though, obviously. This is the maximum rate at which the agent can churn as it rounds the corner defined by a waypoint. The actual churning circle is also influenced by the speed of the agent on approach and also the maximum acceleration. But they don't tell us how because they don't like to be nice. The maximum acceleration of an agent as it follows a path, given in units per second squared. Speed then being maximum movement speed when following a path. So we can't increase the speed or he's going to turn into grease lightning. Let's say we turn this up to 9,000. And suddenly he can... Well, he certainly churns better. I think 9,000 might have been a little much. He was at like 8 or something, wasn't he? They're using the acceleration for deceleration as well. It's just silly that you can run circles around him like this. I can almost get behind him. He just can't turn even though his angular speed is so high. So if I turn that up to 20, he does churn better. So it's obviously taking that into account. But I can still get away from him as long as I'm running forward. Not really. Huh. And if I turn this up, he just gets a little weird. Angular speed just really seems to not be what it's supposed to be. If I turn that down, acceleration down though, then he gets into these weird things where he slides around. And what if I turn off auto braking? Because he can't even get to me now. Where'd he go? He disappeared. He skated off the map. Where is he? He's stuck in a corner. Am I still here? He's stuck behind me. Oh, he reset. Okay. Yeah, he just overshoots like crazy. I could not too difficultly write some code for that as well if I wanted to. Sure would be nice if this silly script that they've made actually was useful. You know, like I said, salt and pepper is the problem. You can't just mix everything into one or two variables and hope that it works. Sometimes you need 5 or 6 variables, and that's okay. That's a good thing when you can actually control stuff the way you want to. So he's looking at me, but he just can't get to me. But I don't want to turn his speed up. My run speed is not boosted at all. It's not actually that he can't churn fast enough. It's that he's not able to counter his own acceleration fast enough. That's why churning the acceleration up does make it work better. But he's doing the pirouette once in a while there. Why would that be? It might be because I'm using... There's a thing called gimbal lock, where when you use only 3 variables, which a vector 3 is, which these Eulers are, there actually reaches a point where you can't define the rotation over time properly with just 3 axes. A true rotation has to have 4 variables, which a quaternion is. This has an I think it's A, B, C, and W or something like that. And this properly represents rotation over time. The reason I switched it to a Euler is because I want to use move towards. The reason for that being the lerp method from to rotation creates a rotation which rotates from to. No, that's not what I want. The lerp interpolates. And the problem with that is, as you get close to 0, it interpolates between these tiny, tiny fractions of a number. And you never actually get to look straight on you. You're always looking a little bit to the side because it grabs in between. And it does look good for smoothing. But that's not actually what I want. I want it to do a move towards, which this basically will just move in the direction that I want to, up to a maximum amount per frame. Problem with that again being, though, sometimes it doesn't know that it would work better to just go like this rather than go like this, because it's not actually fully aware of which is which. That causes him to pirouette like that. So Let me see. I think I can actually fix that. So I've set my Euler's. Well, no, I've grabbed my desired rotation. And this is my current rotation. Now, what I want to do, basically our rotation is ignoring x and z. We're only rotating like this on the y-axis. So what I want to do, I think, is if maybe we should do a while loop, which is always a little dangerous, but let's say while the rotation that we're looking to go towards is y is greater than 180 degrees. I want you to do rotation dot y minus equals 360. And while we are less than or equal to minus 180, I want you to add plus 360. So this is going to throw us into the range of negative 180 to 180. And then we're going to do the same for, let's see, I want to get vector 3, my rotation equals transform.Euler. And this is a get set, so I can't directly edit it. So I'm going to grab it once, and then I'm going to do while my rotation is like that. Do all of this, and we want to be doing that down here as well. So basically, even though those numbers can ramp up, you can get up to like 720 if you just let Unity handle it. And that will cause vector 3 move towards, you know, sometimes this will actually be at, say it's 365, and it wants to get to -5, and it doesn't understand that that's the difference like this. You know, it could just go like this, but it's going to make the whole 360 degree pirouette. So this is going to clamp those values to be within this 180 plus or minus scale always. So it should always be moving towards the other value just within this scale. Does that solve the problem? I think it does. If we're still on extreme opposites, it still would actually opt to go like this, wouldn't it? So that's not, I don't think that that is the entirely correct response. And I could Google this, and somebody would have a better answer, but it feels good to figure it out yourself, you know, if I can. My nickname is I'm bad at math, though, so. Yeah. Math is not an opinion-based study, unfortunately. I think it's called a dot product. Rotate towards nearest. Rotate towards desired rotation using nearest, you know what I mean? Path. Rotate object to its nearest side. Yeah, that's a lot of steps there. Rounding rotation to nearest 90 degrees, math, lerp, angle. This version of the inspector, thinking the solution works like a charm if we don't want to rotate the axis of the next, put 0 and using time. Delta time in the lerp, so he's doing rotate axes to nearest side, which is rounded nearest 90 degree angle. And then move toward, yeah, it's kind of not the same. Increased nav mesh rotation speed. Oh, somebody's, yeah, look, he's coming up the stairs even. That was interesting. Yeah, I looked at this earlier. I'm utilizing an animation controller nav mesh agent. The animation controller simply plays walk forward animation. The animation controller says that I've tried changing the angular speed. Nothing has changed. I'm looking for a way to change the speed faster so they can navigate around corners quicker. The angular speed did not change. On a side note, I have two different kinds of animations. This solved the problem for me. Call the extra rotation speed once in every update. Extra rotation. Look rotation equals agent. Yeah, that's steering. Target rotation. He's just setting the rotation. That's not actually going to. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Well, the problem is really it's the velocity. What is this steering target? That's the next waypoint, I guess. Get the current steering target along the path. Yeah, he's just adding an extra bit on top of letting the agent do its own thing. We've still got a bit of a icy feet problem. Everybody else is changing the speed. Well, we can try this. What did I do? I forget. I was just trying to get them to stop from pirouetting, which is a little difficult to test. They're always gonna just run to the right now, I think is the problem there. They all reset. How did that guy come up from below? Anyway. Excuse me, sir. I want to test you in the other direction. I want to go this way. And if I get behind you, I believe you're going to pirouette. I may have fixed that. Now I just want to churn it up. I was messing with it in runtime, so that wouldn't actually save the changes that I had when we were last looking at it. So if I turn his churn speed up to 20, how does he... Yeah, it really doesn't seem like that changes very much. Maybe the agent is overriding that. I think this is actually, yeah, we were kind of ignoring this, to be honest. It's more this bit down here that we're working with. So let's try what this guy is suggesting. Agent.steering target transform rotation, extra rotation speed times dot delta. He's going to be moving towards the current rotation towards the look rotation. Yeah, so he's just adding more on top of the base agent churn. I guess that works. And I could write a little bit to judge if the dot product of their current velocity is actually moving away from the player by more than a certain amount, to give it sort of a drastic deceleration so they don't go skating off in the other direction. It's a pretty niche addition. Hopefully this rotation will improve, so we don't need to do that. But all things are possible, certainly. Where's our guy? We got two guys this time. Alright, so this guy's chasing me. Look rotation viewing vector is 0. What does that mean? He is looking at me better, but he's still just not able to catch up with his own acceleration. If I turn his acceleration up, then he gets a little bit, you know, it looks better. It's just this, he's kind of twitching funny there now too. Yeah. Yeah, it's just that they build up that acceleration in one direction, and then because the acceleration is so low here, they have trouble countering their own velocity. So if I turn that up, they'll be able to counter it a lot easier. I just kind of don't like how they run at you like this. Well, and this is constantly throwing me errors because they're unable to churn like that. Let's simplify this a little bit here, and yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So let's get rid of this stuff. Let's go ahead and, even if they're chasing you, let's just have them look straight at you, even though that'll be a bit of a shoot. This really didn't. Well, this was working better. We'll leave that on. And I think I'll turn the base turn speed up to 10, 20. Let's go with 25. And then if they are in the process of chasing me, it means they're not in melee range. The longer they've been chasing me, the more their acceleration goes up, I think is what I want to do. So if they get into target range here, I want to do agent.acceleration goes back to 8, whatever. But for every frame that they're chasing me, agent.acceleration plus equals time.delta time times, that'd be 1 per second. Let's say something more like about 5 per second. That's a float, right? So I want to multiply this by a float as well. So whenever they're right on me, it's going to reset to 8. Let's go ahead and add that into here too. So if they ever get out of this loop, it's going to go back to 8. Otherwise, as long as they're chasing me, their acceleration is going to slowly increase. So they're not going to do that immediate rush towards me, but even after just like 1 second, acceleration is going to go from 8 up to 13, and it'll continue to increase with every second. So they'll be able to chase me more efficiently the longer that time goes on, is how I approached the subject that you're bringing up, Art. Same end goal, different approach. Oh yeah, and Jesus, 1 minute to lunch. I think this will work pretty good though. There's the lunch bells. You probably can't hear them on the mic, but I know what you mean. Well, and you know, and like with anything in programming, there's 6 or 7 different ways to approach the same problem. I guess maybe that's more math. Programming too, though. But this is how I thought about it in my head anyway. So the longer that he's chasing me, the faster his acceleration becomes, so he can actually churn really quick. But starting out, oh, what is that? He's doing a little funky thing, and I keep getting this error ever since. Look, rotation viewing vector is 0. Doesn't like something about this. Look, rotation Monster AI 346. So to this line, transform rotation equals quaternion slurp. Look, rotation viewing vector is 0. Look, rotation steering target transform position. I don't think I really need this. I'm going to go ahead and go straight back to or maybe this is going to make them do the bend as well. I don't want to do this either, though. We did determine that. Let's go ahead and bring back one of these guys. Where did those all go? I'm going to copy this, go back to the present. I'm going to use, don't need you. I am going to use you, but I'm not going to be doing this stuff. I'm going to use my altered position, so we're ignoring slopes. Look rotation is going to equal target dot target position minus my position. And no, we want to do this guy here. Definitely have art. Thanks for pointing out the weird desolation biome there too. Hopefully I can get your map fixed too, so that it's not using that saved data anymore. It should be able to calculate that all in runtime once I get what I'm trying to get working properly. So we're going to move the current rotation towards the look rotation based on the churn speed. I think this is what we want. And we will increase acceleration over time. I think the bears and the rhinos will still be nudging you a bit, maybe. We'll have to adjust their... Have a good one. Have to adjust their melee range a bit, perhaps. I'm going to take off here too, though. Grab some lunch. Assuming that this is working a little better. So these guys are still kind of skating a little bit. That should reduce the longer that they're chasing me, though. So, see, now that they're right behind me, they can churn a lot faster. So after they take a swing, if I run away, they still do skate a little bit, but they'll skate less and less as time goes on. They aren't doing their, well, yeah, see, when you do that, though, it's pretty obvious. I might have to clamp their acceleration a little bit, like I was suggesting. I think I'll churn up their base acceleration a little bit too. It does look better. It's getting better. I think I will churn their base acceleration, which is actually on them. Walk speed, run speed. Run speed's at 6, but that gets altered. When they get generated, so that champions and some guys are faster. And we don't actually, we set run speed during chase. Kind of wanted to, no, I was talking about acceleration though, wasn't I? So, not the 8 minimum here. Let's go to 10 minimum. And let's turn this up a little bit so they accelerate over time even faster. 10, 10. I'm getting confusing myself. Acceleration. There we go. 10 times 7 and 10. Okay. I think that'll be better. Oh, and we didn't fix the second staircase spawning beneath the first staircase yet. So I'll have to look at that when I get back from work. We did fix the wall shenanigans though. And I saw one of those guys come up the stairs. Like I say, I'm a little curious. When they do their wander check, they just try to grab a random point. I'm wondering if one of them didn't grab a point up here from beneath. So the longer the chase goes on, see, when you just run straight sideways, they kind of have a difficult time. But still a lot better. So that's a good place to stop. Let's go ahead and write that down. Let's say improved monster churning, tracking, and acceleration. If that makes sense. And yeah, I'm going to go get some lunch and we'll get back into, or I will get back into trying to fix those staircases when I get back. Peeking at the bug tracker, didn't see anything super obvious that needed fixing. Kind of not sure what's going on here, but I do want to check that out. Some new bugs to look at. So yeah, but should be back tomorrow morning. Took a little bit of hiatus there, but feeling good. A few more bugs, a little bit more animation. Hi, kitty. Combat animations we want to get into. And then I'm hoping to finish up the map improvements today and tomorrow. So yeah. Hope you're having a good one wherever you may be. And thanks for the likes and stopping by and tips and follows and all.